Sukh Mann is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Dana Air, a frontline airline operator in Nigeria.
Dana Air was established in 2008, so we're 14 years old. We have a fleet of 7 aircraft at the moment and lots of exciting plans going forward, which includes fleet renewal, route expansion, and regional and global partnerships. So we'll unveil those at the right time, but behind the scenes there's a lot of work going on. See, we've got a consistent mission. I think that's from day one, and I inherited that even when I joined Dana. It's excellence. Yeah, to be excellent at everything we do. Service delivery, product, on-time performance, innovation, technological innovation. So it's always to be at the front and the leader. And I think when you pan back and look at what Dana has delivered in the last 14 years, you will always recognize as a super brand in terms of the leader in innovation and leading the way. Other airlines tend to follow what we sort of start, but something we're proud of. And even now we're doing a lot of work in the background for the next generation of aviation in this country. So yeah, same principles from day one, in fact. We put the customer at the center of everything that we do. So we par ourselves on excellence with customer service. Our cabin crew, immaculate, and they serve to impress. They serve the individual needs of our customers on board. Again, something very important in the sector is on-time performance, not only for the customer, but for the rest of the schedule, for the rest of the day. So we put the customer service and frontline delivery as a priority in everything we do. The catering, any human touch point, any human interaction, the call center, calls are answered promptly, our staff are professional, they're professionally trained, and the customer comes first. And we'll do everything to keep our customers satisfied and retained. I'd categorize aviation as a strategic industry and powers economic growth. It connects cities, it connects individuals, it connects families. And behind aviation movement, let's say, we open the doors for economic growth, be it bringing in investors, be it connecting communities, be it transporting cargo across the country. So all of these factors, I think we're strategically placed to add value and grow the economy. I think there's been a number of challenges of late. I think the spike in the fuel price, we call it Jet A1 fuel, which we use to power our aircraft. There's been a lot of scarcity in the market. So firstly, sourcing that fuel is very difficult at the moment. Secondly, when we can source that fuel, it's very expensive. So that's a short-term impediment, which I think there's a massive room for improvement to help the sector. I think the more government intervention is required in that regard. Secondly, there are many airports in Nigeria, 27 as I was last told. They're underserved. We believe with the right incentives, we can fly to a lot more of the airports across the country and increase connectivity, power that economic growth into those regions. At the same time, some of the impediments, again, the current airport infrastructure, for example, Abuja, it's aged now. I think we need a bit more investment in domestic aviation infrastructure. That would certainly help increase flight movements and operations, also ease the process of travel through those terminals for our passengers. At the end of the day, we're forced to deal with market forces. The international fuel price has risen, which is a fact. Every airline in the world is affected. Now, for example, we have to buy that fuel in Naira. And sourcing, whilst the currency is devaluating, the cost of actually sourcing that litre of fuel is actually getting more expensive every day. Sadly, we can't pass on those increase in cost to our passengers because the tickets would just be so high. So we need some kind of remedy and some kind of dialogue with the central bank or the government or the Ministry of Aviation itself to help us curtail the escalating price of jet fuel. I think that's the biggest challenge at the moment. The second one would really be the infrastructure of current domestic airports. FAN, the Airports Authority, I think have done a fantastic job in delivering some major pieces of infrastructure across the country. You've got 4 new international terminals coming online. Abuja is already online. Lagos was recently commissioned. Great showpieces in new infrastructure. So FAN, I think, in the last 3-4 years have really upped the ante and doing a wonderful job. They've got a wonderful leader in terms of Captain Yaduda as their MD, and the vision is very, very clear with FAN, at least for the next 4 to 6 years. We know what their plans are, and they're openly welcomed. NCAA, again, the professionalism under Captain Musa, he's trailblazing. I have a lot of respect for Captain Musa, and he's charting or is realigning this sector for the long term. He's making some very difficult decisions. You have to be as a regulator, you have to do as a regulator. And I think the transition between FAN and NCAA in the last 2-3 years noticeably has really repositioned this sector for excellent growth into the future. NAMA in its own right, the Airspace Agency has been investing in technology which makes air transportation safer, so that all of these developments are very warmly welcomed. At the time, it crippled the sector. It crippled the sector globally. There was nobody flying, there were no movements. And if you imagine, the aircraft, even if they're not flying, the overheads on the aircraft are very, very expensive. So not only were we not generating any revenue, a lot of our expenses were still reoccurring every month. Fortunately, when the COVID receded and the markets bounced back, we saw very good demand. We saw very good growth coming back into the sector. And always remember, Nigeria is a unique market. We have a very large population. There is a lot of demand for domestic air travel. So the bounce back was very, very quick, and certainly in this market. But at the time, the industry was crippled. Well, Dana, has a large following. It's a household name. So that helped us to bounce back possibly quicker than the competitors. Again, we're known for the innovation. We're known for, putting the passenger first. So I think a culmination of all the things that we stand for helped us recover very, very quickly. Corporate governance starts at home. We have a very, very strong internal control ethic at Dana. So in our internal processes and our customer-facing SOPs. So the corporate governance is extremely important, and it has to be implemented every single day of the week, not just a paper exercise which you tick once a quarter or once a year with your auditors. So the corporate governance environment is very strong. We're ethically driven, and you see that feeding through into our operational discipline as well. And hence, we aim. It's indoctrinated in our DNA that we will deliver, over and above the SOPs, over and above the minimum requirements, be that in the back offices, be that in our processes, or be that in the front line. And that's something that every team member delivers every single day. Well, I've been in this seat for nearly a year now, and I can promise you we will not let down our legacy. We will continue to power ahead. I won't say too much. I'll always keep you briefed, of course, but we've got lots of exciting plans to possibly refleet, possibly grow our networks, who knows. And there's a few partnerships in the pipeline as well with some regional players and international players. We'll be announcing those in due course, but there's a lot more to come from Dana Air. I've been in the industry nearly 30 years now. I trained with British Airways in the UK, and I've been lucky enough to work throughout the world. There's a couple of continents I haven't been to, but most of the world I've covered. I got my first exposure to Nigeria about 27 years ago, and I fell in love with West Africa. I've had a lot of appointments and roles in West Africa, and it was a pleasure to be invited back by Dana to take the seat here and to run the operations. So 30 years in the business, and hopefully many more years to go.